Hello, welcome back to my weekly vlog, and I thought I'd just recap on a few things menopausal because there has been so much chat about not only the videos that I've posted recently, but also there seems to be just a groundswell of things happening in the media, which I thought it would be good just to highlight. Now, the first one, really excitingly, is my lovely friend Davina McCall's brilliant new documentary, which comes out next week if you're watching this in real time. So it's Wednesday the 12th of May. It's on Channel 4. I think the transmission time is 9 o'clock, and it's really brilliant. I've had a sneaky peek, and it started a couple of years ago with a great journalist called Kate Muir, who's also writing a really good book that will come out this autumn on the menopause. And she was just so shocked by what she uncovered, as so many of us in this menopause journey have been, with women being denied access to their own hormones. And so much misinformation, so many wrong, flawed studies, scaring women, the incorrect links with breast cancer, so many things, which I've talked about at length here. I've also made lots of podcasts on all of this, and I've worked with Dr. Louise Newson and Dr. Zoe Hodson and Dr. Rebecca Lewis and Dr. Hannah Short and Mr. Nick Panay, who's the chair of the International Menopause Society, and Professor Avram Bloom and Professor Michael Baum, and so many people. So all of those podcasts are on the Earle Wellbeing Show podcast app, or of course you can access them through the lizearlewellbeing.com website if you want to have a really good listen. But anyway, as we know, the stats are shocking for women, not only in the UK, but globally. And I know many of you tune in from around the world to watch this. And getting access to safe natural hormones to just replace what we're missing. We're not asking for anything different. We're not asking for anything extra. We're just asking, please, if we could have our estrogen, our progesterone and our testosterone back, please. That's all. So anyway, Davina has done an absolutely brilliant job with Kate, and I do urge you to watch it if you're around, or record it, or if you're watching this later on, please find it on Catch Up. Davina McCall, all about the menopause, which will be next Wednesday in the UK. So from that, there have been so many campaigns and so many new initiatives. So the first one I think to talk about is the Menopause Charity. I was really honoured to be the first ambassador for the Menopause Charity, and I sit there alongside other amazing women like Davina, also like Lorraine Kelly, who's been so vocal with her Lorraine programme on helping to get this really good evidence-based message out for all midlife women. And in fact, as we know, perimenopause and menopause can happen really early in life. It's not unheard of to have menopause in your 20s or 30s. It's rare, but it's definitely something that GPs should be aware of. And obviously, there's also surgical induced menopause or menopause due to cancer treatments, for example. And there's lots of resources on that, specifically on the Menopause Doctor website. So do check that out. She's got a really good booklet on cancer treatments and menopause and HRT particularly. And there is lots of help out there. So whatever your age, whatever your stage of life, whatever your stage of health, then there are resources to help. So some of the resources that I have, obviously I started my writing journey with The Good Menopause Guide, which was published a few years ago. This book is got lots of basic information. So it's kind of a good beginner's guide. It was written really at a time when there was very little out there in the media. So if you want a kind of a good all-round overview, then this is a good starting point. Half the book is also recipes. So it's also about eating well. And we know that there are lots of things that can really help. So improving gut health, maybe looking at some of the plant-based estrogens, the phytoestrogens, certainly not going to do any harm. And also looking at things like low GI, keeping the glycemic index low, really important as well during menopause, and having proper healthy fats. You know, this is not a time to go low fat. This is a time when we need good quality, healthy fats. So I love some of these recipes. I've just flicked open the page here. Wholesome green smoothie. There's nutty granola, one of my favourites. Apple and cinnamon chia pots. I mean, those are just for starters. So lots of information in there. And I actually updated this probably about 6 months ago. There's a new version now. The new edition, the latest edition, has newer information on the safety of HRT, because there have been some studies and trials that have come out just showing just how incredibly safe the body identical HRT is. And by that, of course, I'm talking about the patches, the gels, the sprays, freely available on the NHS, or at least they should be, from your GP. You do not need to go to expensive private clinics and pay for unregulated, potentially unsafe, compounded, bioidentical hormones. Please don't do that. Lots of information on lots of really good websites about that. You can learn about it on the British Menopause Society, the International Menopause Society, all very clear, saying please steer clear of unregulated, compounded hormones. So following on from my book, which is in print, which is still a bestseller on Amazon, which is really good, and there have been lots of other new books as well coming out around that, I decided to do some e-guides, some downloads, and the reason for that is that A, they're much cheaper, B, they can be updated much more easily than something that goes into print, and they also have lots of digital links. So, for example, a good one to start with is this one. I've actually printed this out so you can see it. It's called The Truth About Menopause, and you can just download it onto your phone, onto your laptop, onto your tablet, whatever. And I think it's a really good format, because here, for example, you can see wherever anything is in blue, that's a link. So there's lots of clickable links, so it's very easy to navigate. You can find your way easily to things like the NICE guidelines, which are the NICE guidelines, the NHS guidelines for menopause treatment. There's lots of links for things like the podcast that I talked about, and things that can be helpful. So if you are a newbie to all of this and you want a bit more information, this is a really good starting point, The Truth About Menopause. Now, of course, the elephant in the room whenever we're talking about menopause is, of course, HRT. That is the thing that everybody wants to know about, rightly so, because it's so incredibly helpful. And so I then followed that with a very specific e-guide called The Truth About HRT. So this is all about HRT. If you want to know about HRT, the latest forms, what's safe, how you take it, how you get it, how you talk to your GP about it, then this is the one for you. Again, lots of links. So lots of links to podcasts, lots of ways to access information, what it is, what the guidelines are, how to take it, what it costs the NHS. So it's very inexpensive. You know, per month, an NHS prescription for a patch is about £3 per month. So this can be transformational for so many women. And of course, we know that the benefits outweigh the risks for the vast, vast majority, cutting our risk of heart disease in half. Imagine the savings to the health service if the amount of heart disease was cut in half. That's the biggest killer for women. Osteoporosis, NICE guidelines, very clear. This is the primary, or should be, the primary form of treatment for osteoporosis in menopause, and so many other things. We're now seeing links with type 2 diabetes, with Alzheimer's, so much. Anyway, it's all in here, The Truth About HRT. One of the things I wanted just to mention very briefly is you may have heard some of my podcasts with Dr. Zoe Hodson about testosterone particularly. And there's a real campaign going now amongst women to try and reclaim this hormone. And you may have heard me say that we actually produce 3 to 4 times more testosterone in our ovaries than we do estrogen. So testosterone is a female hormone. It's one of our really, really important hormones. And unfortunately, we start to lose it from our 30s. And people associate it with libido and sex drive. And yes, it definitely has a role there, but it's really important for brain health. It's really important for memory, for cognitive function, for clarity of thought. And it's also really important for strength, for muscle strength, for strong, agile bodies, which, of course, going forward as we age, is really important. So there's a great woman on Instagram and Facebook, you may have come across her, called Diane Danzebrink, and I've recorded podcasts with her before. And you'll find her on Instagram particularly, and I'll pop links to everything, by the way, in the little caption below, so you can go down there and get links easily to all these things I'm talking about. But she's been running a campaign with Dr. Zoe Hodson to really try and get testosterone much more widely available, because it's a postcode lottery. Depending on where you live in the UK, you may be able to get it from your GP, or you may not. And that's just crazy, isn't it? Because it's a safe, natural hormone. We're not asking for anything different. We're just asking to replace something that we've lost, like thyroxine, for example, if you have a thyroid issue. So there is this campaign going to really ask your local CCG whether they are able to prescribe testosterone. And if not, why not? Because here's all the evidence. So CCG, these are the clinical commissioning groups. And basically they deliver NHS services regionally, and all regions have them. I think there's at least 144. So you can look them up online, just have a look in your search engine, CCG, local to wherever you live. And there are some things that you can do. You can write to them, you can ask them what they're doing, not only about testosterone, but you can ask them directly, what are they doing to improve menopause care in your area? Because we know that menopause services are being cut. And this is especially important when you think about menopause in the workplace. It has a huge impact, of course, on home life and family life, which I've talked about quite a lot in the past. But I haven't really covered so much about menopause at work. And we know that huge numbers of women give up work in midlife because they simply can't cope. They can't cope with the stress, the anxiety, the lack of sleep, the lack of brain power, losing cognitive function, losing memory. All of these things really debilitating. And you may not be joining the dots and realizing that that's what's affecting your ability at work. And it may lead you to take early retirement or to give up your job because you feel you can't cope. So really important to be talking to your GP about this and doing some research and seeing whether simply replacing missing hormones could be the answer for you at work. And actually, while we're on the topic of work, I think it's really important to also ask your MP, for example. You can write to your local MP. Ask them what they're doing. What are they doing to raise help for women in the workplace going through menopause, as well as women generally? What are they doing to make sure that women get proper menopause care? We know that menopause clinics are being cut back right across the country through the NHS, which is crazy. All women will have a menopause, all of them. So we wouldn't expect them to cut pregnancy services or antenatal care, but not all women will have a baby. Every woman, if she lives long enough, will have a menopause. So this is really fundamental stuff. This is basic stuff that we should be getting. You can write to Liz Truss. She is the Minister for Women, so you can ask her what she's doing to support menopause and menopause care. When you think about it, the Minister for Women, surely that should be an absolute top priority for her, because this is fundamentally an issue that is affecting all women. You can also write to the Royal College of GPs. So they look after the care and training of all GPs. You can ask them why there isn't more menopause training. You can really lobby for that, because if we have better trained GPs, then of course we get better care in the surgery. Talking about doctor surgeries, you can ask for participation in local patient panels, so you can make your voice heard. You can ask them who in the surgery is a menopause specialist, who has done some menopause training, who you can talk to about female hormones. Again, it's fundamental, and I think until we ask these questions, we're just not going to get help. Same with asking questions in the workplace. You can ask your employer to see a copy of the menopause policy. That'll be an interesting one. Love to hear what they say. You know, all employers now need to have all sorts of policies in place for paternity and maternity, for oh my goodness, just so much diversity. And so, you know, come on guys, where's your menopause policy? And if you don't have one, can you help create one? Can you give them the tools? Can you point them to the Menopause Doctor website? Or, as I say, campaigners like Diane Danzy-Brink. There's a lot of information out there. The Menopause Charity, that website will be launching next week. So there'll be so much information and resources. But we need to start talking about it. It's like in the old days, you wouldn't really mention the word pregnancy at work. Now it's completely a given. People can talk about it, they can get time off, they can get special resources and help. Well, we need to arrange that for women too going through menopause. There just needs to be a very clear policy in place. And it's not just about, oh, can I sit near a window so I can open it if I have a hot flush? There needs to be access to proper information and medical care as well. I think you can also just raise awareness with your own group and your own network of friends. In my menopause guide, this one, the Good Menopause Guide, and also on the Earle Wellbeing website, I've got a recipe for menopause cake. And that is actually, it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek recipe. It does have some phytoestrogens and it is low in sugar, and it is a really delicious cake, actually. I mean, my whole family love it, not just those who might think they're menopausal. But it's a good icebreaker because you can make the cake and you can take it to, you know, coffee mornings or gatherings when we're allowed to have them. You can take it into work. It can be a conversation starter. So I think it's just, hopefully, everybody here being more aware. There is a lot happening. Keep the faith. I know it's really hard for so many, but please don't let it grind you down. There are resources out there. Please don't give up. I have comments on my Instagram every single day, and I always say, listen, it's about informed consent with your GP. The NICE guidelines are really clear. You should be offered a choice of HRT, and it may take a little while to get it right for you. It's not one size fits all. So if at first it doesn't work, do some research, tweak it, get it right, because it can make such a difference, total life-changing difference. And we need to be getting ourselves out of the dark ages. I truly believe, and my daughters and I, we have these conversations about it, and we say, you know, in the future, we will be looking back at this time with incredulity, saying, well, what do you mean they didn't replace your hormones when you lost them? How did you manage? How did you cope? How did you go to work? How did you run a family? How did you live your life? How did you enjoy quality of life? So I'm going to leave you with that thought, but please pop a note in your diary if you're watching this in real time. Next Wednesday, let's all tune in and cheer on Davina. Please follow menopausedoctor.co.uk. You can sign up for her newsletter. It's really good. She's great on Instagram. She's got lots of podcasts going on. Please follow Diane Danzy-Brink. She's got a menopause support network as well. And of course, you can always go to lizearlewellbeing.com. We've got lots of free resources you can download. We've also got the e-guides you can download, lots of podcasts. And I hope that we can continue this chat ongoing. Do leave me a comment in the little section below. I've popped as many links as I can below, and I just hope you enjoy the resources, that you share them widely with your friends, and let's make this a real time of change, positive change, not just the change, but a time to change the talk around the change and make it better for all of us. Thanks. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.